Hello and good evening, beautiful people around the world. Today I have a special guest, and of course, this special guest is teacher John Banker from United States of America. Thank you so much for being with us in this evening, teacher John. Welcome.
Oh, thank you very much for having me. I appreciate it very much.
How are you feeling today?
You know, for an old man, 77 years old, waking up in the morning is a blessing. Half of the day is good already. I woke up, and that's the main thing. God is good.
Yeah, true. So we should be grateful because we are still in life and we can take breathe. Yeah.
Exactly.
If you want to share us whatever you want about who's John Banker.
Well, it's a long story. I'll try to make it short. I was born in Brooklyn, New York. Uh, I I was in the Air Force during a wartime era in Vietnam. I came back from Vietnam. I got married, and everything was going good in New York. And my company sent me on a business trip to Houston, Texas. It was such a beautiful city. I told my wife about it. We went down there with some friends that I made during the visit for Christmas, and we moved here. And the company I worked for was an oil tanker company, and they went out of business. And I looked for a job, and I got a job at Saudi Arabian Airlines.
Wow.
And it was a local job working in the warehouse, but their mentality was you dealt with very expensive equipment. They paid me very well. They were like the father I never had. They treated me so good. I had the opportunity to travel with my wife to 67 countries, so many times over. My first vacation was a 4 month vacation in India with my, at that time, 11-year-old son. And when I was in India and the other countries I've gone through, I seen how rough life can be.
Mm.
People really struggle to get money to have clean water and to eat food. And when I came back, this is always was in the back of my mind. I took a job at not a job, but I volunteer at my library. A volunteer is you work for free, and I help people learning English, uh, conversational English. And I decided this when I seen these groups. There are so many people worldwide who want to learn English and are being scammed by people. Oh, I will teach you how to learn English in 6 months. There's only a few really very good teachers. So I decided to join these groups, and I'm in one particular group right now where I conduct video challenges because you could learn grammar and vocabulary through Google and YouTube and the other things, but to really get the speaking experience, the one-on-one, or making your own video and having somebody rate it and criticize it or give positive reinforcement, you're only going to find that in the group or be paying for an English teacher. So that's how I got involved in doing this online. I volunteer. I do not do one on one. If I work in groups, I feel I am more productive. My wife died 2.5 years ago. Uh, so I'm living by myself. I'm not complaining. This is the way life is, but it gives me a lot of time to volunteer. And even though I am not what they call a religious zealot, I feel God has been God, Allah, Buddha, whoever is your higher power, has been good to me. So I try to volunteer as much as I can to help people to put them on the right track. Not to teach them English, but to put them on the right track learning English. I think I said enough.
Wow, such a beautiful story. And I love when you said, I travel with my wife over the countries. So you travel
Six-
together.
67 different countries around the world, from China, Thailand, Paris, France,
Mm,
the Netherlands, Pakistan, India, Saudi Arabia, Jordan, uh, Syria. So I learned to respect the different religions
mm,
because, you know, another reason I do this is so many people have this concept about the ugly American,
yeah.
and that's what they call the ugly Americans. Uh, and I try to prove them differently. At one time, I met somebody, a young woman was a flight attendant, and my wife was talking to her in India, and we invited her, a mother, and her sister to come to Houston. This was before the internet, so we used to write international mail to each other from the post office. And when she was leaving, she asked my wife and I, "You think you could help my brother get an apartment or maybe get him a job?" And at that time, my wife said, "John, we have a 5 bedroom house. We have extra bedrooms that are just empty. We could just," and we sponsored a couple people coming to the United States. So my
Wow.
friend from India, I never met him before. I picked him up at the airport. He lived with us for 4 years. Now
Mm.
that's an experience. And I say to myself, you want to call me an ugly American when you take somebody from my country and have them live in your home for 4 years and don't charge them? So yeah, I try to make people realize, uh, irregardless of what religion you have, don't judge uh, each other by what our government does, because I believe people are people worldwide.
Yeah, exactly. So your traveling helped you to discover new cultures, new religion, and to understand them by living them, by being with people, and also inviting them in your country. That's just wonderful. What can I say? I mean,
Yeah,
it's,
I
it's,
feel good
it's
about it.
connection. You didn't only communicate with them, but you connect with them.
Oh yes, and sometimes when my wife and I then would go to on vacations, because I got a lot of vacation time at Saudi Arabian Airlines. I used to be able to work Saturday and Sunday, 12 hours, and get a week vacation. So there was one period of time that I was on vacation for 8 months, and I would leave my son with whoever was in the house with us. They were in charge, and my son also had the experience to become uh, open minded. I mean, the only, my wife and I are completely different. The only thing we have in common is our religion, which is Roman Catholic. But
Mm,
we had to have had Hindus stay in our house, people who follow Islam stay in my house, and one young lady who was Buddhist. So we try to keep an open mind, and I think it was a great education for my son. You don't learn these things in school that people are.
never, never. You learn only when you stay with people, when you handle with them.
Yeah.
It's true. But let's, okay, before you travel physically, but now also you are traveling online. So you are still in
It's
contact
it's
with
so
people
much
always.
fun. It's so much fun because you know I could turn on the news stations, CNN, Fox News, BBC, Al Jazeera, which I watch, and these are news people, uh, reporters selling stories to their newspaper or TV station to get more viewers. So
Mm.
most of the news is slanted for whatever the people who are watching these TV programs are. But if I talk to somebody and say in Pakistan and say, well, what do you think about this? I get the general consensus of what people really feel is going on in the world.
Yeah, for the real source of information from the people, the real people, not just from the news. Sometimes are fake, the news.
It's a lot of fake news.
Mm, exactly. So, would you like to tell us a secret, a secret of connecting with people? Because as we know, you connect with people from different kind of countries, kind of culture, religion. So what's the secret to understand them and to have a common point, let's say?
Okay, I get at least, at least every day 25 friend requests. Help me, teach me. Uh, I don't know who you are. You have a blocked profile. And especially for a woman, the stories that I have heard about about how some men treat women online. If you want to have a person to learn English with, whatever group you are in, or if you have your own, like your own private group, you know the people, you could refer people to other people if they want to have a study partner. Uh, I think people have to prove themselves. They have to make posts. They have to answer comments in full sentences and not just click like or a hard emo. They have to participate in Zoom meetings, video challenges. Once you meet somebody, man or woman, that you kind of know online, it's much easier to find a bonding friendship where your common goal is to learn English. And by seeing these people online, you could see exactly what level of English they are in, so you could work together. The worst thing to do is to find a learning partner who's lower, much lower level than you, because you will not learn anything, and he will learn everything that you have to share because he is at that lowest level. And that's why people make the mistake by going trying to find somebody to practice with. You really have to do the research and 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 be on the same level. Now, I do not charge. Maybe people watching this video will say, "Oh, I want to hire John." No, John is not for hire. John works in the groups for free and puts his information there. Uh, but the thing is, the secret is to be active in whatever group you are, or if you're in a private group like your own, like I don't know much about you. I talk to you in different groups, but if you're a teacher and you have your own group of students, it would be very easily for you to match up someone together as a learning partner. So when you give it an assignment, they will be able to practice with each other. And when time comes times for you to mark the papers or listen to them, they will be more prepared. And this way, it'll be a shorter time. It's not good for you because you'll be collecting less money, but it would be good for them because they'd be learning faster and hopefully recommend you to their friends who want to learn English.
Yeah, true. I totally agree with your advices, and thank you so much for that. So now let's talk about okay, about connecting with people who are from different religion. You know, now we have a problem, let's say it's a challenge, not really a problem, between this war, you know. So people are in different position, I mean, with Israel or with Palestine. So I observe people are in groups now. How, what's your advice people to understand with each other and to remain friends? I mean, not to break up because of a war or because of religion.
First of all, I enjoy talking about the taboo subjects, not sex. Sex is not taboo. It's politics and religion.
Yeah.
And and I try to make people understand that there are good and bad Roman Catholics, there are good and bad Jewish people,
Mhm.
there are good and bad Islamic people, there are good and bad Hindus. Uh, don't judge the people by their government's policy. Now, I have friends in Russia and I have friends in the Ukraine. I really don't have Jewish friends, but I have some friends in Palestine. Uh, I have friends from Taiwan. I have friends from China. You have to remember when you're talking to someone online, uh, certain situations might be very sensitive, but it's out of their hands. It's government policy. I was in Pakistan one time. My wife and I went to Pakistan from Houston to attend a wedding. Could you imagine that going to Pakistan to attend a wedding? Uh,
Wow. three
and
days maybe.
so I met a young man over there, and we were talking. He says, "Where are you from?" I says, "I'm from the United States." He said, "We hate all you Americans. You deserve all of you should be killed. You're no good. You support this and you support this country." I
Mm.
says, "Hey, hold on a second. You want to kill me and you never met me. Do you realize that I cannot control my government's action? Can you control your government's action?" He said, "No." And but we wrote each other for many years till he got married, and his wife got very demanding, wouldn't let him have friends like me, or just any friends. But we corresponded by mail before email was available for a few years. So it's just understanding that there are good and bad people all over. Uh, because you follow your religion very good doesn't mean that your friend is going to be following it very good. He may be taking advantage of it. So that, I kind of tell people I started my own new religion, and that is to be kind to people.
Wow. Be kind. What
Kindness,
is the
man.
meaning?
This world is crazy right now.
Hmm.
We have 8 or 9 countries with their hand on the red button that can destroy the world 100 times over. I have my son, I have 8 grandchildren, I have great grandchildren. I think they deserve to live and not be under rule of a tyrant. Now
Hmm.
we have 2 people running for office in the United States. Uh, we have a current president, Joe Biden, and we have Donald Trump, who was the previous president, and I don't believe did a good job. So I say to myself, I really have nobody to vote for. Who's who's less bad than the other person? That's not the way you should vote.
No, true. But when you said be kind, what does it mean for you be kind? How can we be kind with people or with us?
Uh, we could friend each other. We could talk to people with a different religion. We don't have to try to convert them to our religion. We don't have to insult them. Well, you're Catholic. That's the bad religion. Jesus is not God. Jesus is a prophet. Or you go on and on with this.
Mhm.
You have to be respectful to people's religion and where they come from. Uh, there are Jewish people in Israel who are against the government and feel that there should be an independent state for Palestine. A lot of people are blaming Americans for the situation there. It was the British in 1921, I believe, that broke up Israel and Palestine. So kindness is coming from the heart to treat all people like your brothers and sisters. Now, I am not a very religious person. I'll be honest with you. But
Mm,
certain quotes of my Bible, the Catholic Bible, is a quote by Jesus, who we consider God, Son of God and God. Now, if you don't agree with this, hey, at least respect my decision. He said, Jesus didn't say to become a Buddhist, a Hindu, a Muslim, or a Catholic, or a Protestant. Jesus said, whatsoever you do to the least of my brothers, and I add the word and sisters, that you do unto me. You don't have to be rude and cruel and vicious and take advantage of your fellow human being. You could help them instead of hurting them. If
mm.
everybody did that, I think we would be in so much better times.
Yeah, will be nice if people will try to look to each other with love, respect,
Exactly.
care,
Yeah.
not with hate, because
Right.
hate brings only hate and revenge. After all, yes, I love how you said be kind to people. And be kind, always be kind. Yeah, we are trying to be kind, but I think first we have to be kind with ourselves, to ourselves also sometimes. No,
Oh, yeah. Of course, we could be our own worst enemy.
exactly true. Yeah. Another question what I want to ask you, because I have seen your videos so many times where you were talking about your wife. And if you would like to share with us some advices for a good marriage or for a good relationship, some of
Okay.
the secrets.
Actually, I don't know. And this is nothing. I have nothing personal. My wife didn't even have an email address because she had this mentality. They're going to find out where I live and come over and kidnap the grandchildren. So she had this crazy way of thinking. Uh, the only thing in common I had with my wife was religion. Uh,
Mhm.
I was a very manipulating, using, almost hateful person. My wife was in the Roman Catholic religion. She was a nun for a
Wow.
couple years. So she gave of herself. And like I say, I had a major problem with alcohol. And if my wife would see a bum, or whatever you want to call this person, on a street begging for money to buy alcohol, I would say, I'd roll up the window. I say, I don't want to even look at that bum. And my wife would say, John, give that gentleman $1. He is out of bed. He is out of good luck.
Hmm.
Even though she could see the bad person, the problems that he might be causing, she didn't have this hatefulness that I had. Since we were completely opposites in everything, uh, I am white, uh, Polish, and German. German people and Polish people are very firm. We don't have a good sense of humor. My wife was black, Chinese, and Indian from Trinidad and Tobago. We were completely different. I am
Hmm.
very blessed to say that after being married 52 years,
Wow.
uh, I lost most of my bad points, and the good points that my wife has been through the process maybe of osmosis been transferred to me. So I think I became a very good person because of my wife. I wasn't this way always. I had made in my life I had a major problem with alcoholism. And I work right now with many alcoholics to try to stop drinking if they want to, but cannot do it on their own. But
Hmm.
for marriage, though, I think we contributed 150% each. It's not like going to some foreign countries and women are looking to get married for security, and on the other hand, men are looking for just a partner. Uh, we had love, I believe, in our relationship, which I don't see too much of anymore, which is disappointing. People are very manipulative. They get married because, oh, he's a rich man. Oh, I marry her because she's very good looking. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's more like than love sometimes, and
Exactly. How I
sometimes
can use this
interest.
person, how I can use this person to benefit my goals, what I want.
Mm.
And my wife and I didn't have that. We were not very materialistic, uh, although we were very fortunate. Uh, I grew up in poverty. I remember having living in Brooklyn, New York, where there was no heat, there was no hot water, and we had a bathtub in the middle of the kitchen, and we used to put a wood cover on it, and that was our table.
Hmm.
I remember when growing up, where we used to use newspaper for toilet paper, and my wife grew up in the same hot conditions. And yet, when I worked for Saudi Arabian Airlines, she would tell me we'd go to a country like uh, Nigeria,
Mm-hmm.
and the people you could see were very, very poor. She would say, let's have a clothing drive when we go back. We'll ask all our friends and neighbors and stores shirts that they can't sell if they want to donate it. And we would send boxes and boxes. I'm not talking about little cardboard boxes that you carry 12 bottles of wine in, but I'm talking about big boxes that you could put 10, 15 people in that they use for the airline. And we would send many boxes of clothing to Nigeria, different countries. And we both got the satisfaction of doing good. At first, I was saying, are you crazy? Why am I wasting my time? I don't even know these people. But then
Yeah.
I realized after a while that, take care of your fellow human beings. If you have more than them, try to help them. It doesn't have to be with a check or money. It could be sending them, like I've sent clothing in Nigeria to mosque, to churches, and they distribute the clothing free of charge to people in need. It
So
makes you
beautiful.
feel good after a while.
So beautiful to help people. So this is one of your secret of marriage. I mean, doing
Yes,
things.
to give that 150%, and don't take that other person for granted, and
Mm.
spend time together. Uh, my wife used to like to have parties and dance and this and that, and I always had what they call two left feet. But I would always try and this and that, and we would share things together. Like my wife, we both grew up in poverty. Uh, we would get things and we would turn around and sell them, and this would be our money to travel with, etc. So the thing is, though, if your wife has certain interest or your husband has certain interest, try to get involved with some of them. Become a team.
Yeah. So one is, I mean, from your recipe of a good relationship is to travel together, right? To do
No,
things
actually, not
together.
necessarily. Well, I never took a vacation by myself. Uh,
Wow.
we never hid money from each other.
Mm-hmm.
She worked as a nurse. I worked for the Saudi Arabian Airlines. I was a real estate broker. She was my agent. We had one account. The money came in there, and that was that. Uh, she needed a new vehicle. I know most of my friends who are from, say, Syria or Pakistan. They decide what kind of car wife is gonna drive.
Yeah.
Uh, I said to my wife, I said, "Well, what kind of car do you want?"
Mm-hmm.
And of course, she's the one that's driving it. So, for some strange reason, I am. I don't know how to put it in metric with too much. I am 6 foot 3 inches, and my wife was 5 feet tall. So I was much taller than her. And when she wanted this car, she looked at this Toyota Sequoia, which is a big, large SUV. And I wondered all the time why little people, short people, like to have big cars. But she wanted this car. She wanted this car. I said, okay, fine, buy it. We buy it. We both worked. We both made very good money. We didn't have, uh, you know, we didn't have like just throwaway money. Oh, I have to have this. Oh, I have to have that. We were both very cheap, or we could say that sounds better. We were both very frugal. But
Mm.
with a new car, we went there, and the car at that time, 2014, when she bought this new Toyota Sequoia, the total cost was 55,000 US dollars. And we went over there, we picked out the car, and the guy's talking to us about finance. I said, no, no, we're paying cash. I don't want to pay interest. I know,
Mhm.
I believe in Islam, there's a thing about paying interest. Uh, I don't follow Islam. My religion is Roman Catholic, although Islam has some very good verses. Uh, I don't pay extra money if I don't have to. So I buy something, I pay cash for it because to avoid finance charges. The big problem today with young people, they don't understand anything about finance or money. I have a granddaughter who is probably $30,000 in a hole
Mm.
where she pays like $400 a month, and it's just paying the interest.
Yeah, same here in France.
Yeah.
Majority of the people are doing the same.
So, like I say, I haven't paid one penny interest in over 25 years. And I've
That's
bought new homes, and I bought new cars, and this and that. So my higher power, meaning what whoever God is, my higher power has been very good to me, and I try to share that by being kind to other people.
Mm. Yeah. But I love your story with your wife, how many things you did together and traveling
We did
together and
everything
being a
together.
team. And
My mother one time came over, and like she got so upset at us. Uh, we're sitting down and this and that, and I said, Gloria, I'm going to the restroom. And my mother looked at me and her and says, why are you telling her you're going to the restroom? That's the most stupidest thing I ever heard, my mother told me. Well, she was from the old school. I said, well, we tell each other things like that. We don't mean anything by it. We just let
mm.
her know, well, I let her know where I'm going. I'm leaving the room. I don't want to be rude, just get up and walk away. And my mother couldn't understand that because she was from the old school. She thought we were both crazy.
It's just wonderful. To I mean, I always like to ask people when I get them here in my meetings, what's their definition of love? And also the another question is how we can be together, how we can understand with each other. And sometimes people are not having these answers. So I'm just saying, okay, if you don't have this answer, how you want your life to be?
You know, some people struggle to keep
Mhm.
a relationship.
Yeah,
Some
true.
people stay married because they don't want to insult their parents or it's
Mm,
against their religion or they have children. I think if a marriage cannot work, it's best to leave. I think the children would be much better off with one parent than
yeah.
two parents who hate each other. Like I say, my wife and I, yes, we had our arguments, but I go by that old rule as far as wives go.
Mhm.
Rule Two rules. Uh, wife is always rule A. Wife is always right.
Wife is always right.
Right.
Okay, this is the first
Rule
rule.
B. Rule B. If you think you're right, refer back to rule number one. And
Okay.
like I say, it was not a big thing. I don't mind compromising. Some men are very thick skulled. Oh, it has to be my way. And my wife and I, like she was when we made a business. We took a trip to Houston. She says, John, I could get a job any place. I'm a nurse. You could get a job. Uh, Houston is so much better. I says, yeah, I'm leaving my mother. I'm leaving my family. I'm leaving the security blanket I had. But we decided to move to Houston, Texas from Brooklyn, New York, and it was the best move we ever made. It is
Hmm.
it's a city where it's not how important how much money you make, but who caught the biggest fish
Oh.
or what team or whatever. It's just, uh, it's like a state of mind where New York was a rat race. Houston, Texas. And now Houston is not small anymore. It's the fourth largest city in the United States, but it still has what I call this Texas mentality. There are many people in Texas who feel Texas should become its own country. They raised the
Hmm.
Texas flag before they raised the American flag. Uh, Kind of crazy, but that they have this strong national feeling about where they live.
Mhm, yeah. Wow. It's just wonderful to stay and to listen to you, teacher Jan. Especially listening about marriage and relationship, my favorite subject always. It's just wow. So the the most important question is what is love? How you define love?
Love, basically, to me, is a state of mind. Uh, I believe if you could get a man to the moon and back, you certainly can have two people live together that care about each other. You have to work on it. Uh, you know, uh, so many, so many. I know many relationships that have been ended not because of one of the partners cheated on each other. Cheated, I mean, had an extra relationship or this and that. I find many of these situations I know people are fighting whose turn it is to take out the garbage,
Yeah,
whose
true.
turn it is to wash the dishes, and they fight over this. My wife and I never fought over small things. We would both compromise to make an even keel, and that's what I think it's all about, a compromise. Uh, I know the grass always looks greener on the other side, but you know, I believe, not I believe, I know my wife and I we were in love for over 52 years. And the last 4 years of her life, she was on dialysis. She had total kidney failure 1 month after we lost our house to Hurricane Harvey.
Mm.
So I decided, I says, Gloria, I can't take care of you and worry about doing a new house. Let's get an apartment, a senior apartment. And I was able to take care of my wife. I retired earlier from Saudi Arabian Airlines. I retired at age 62, which was no problem. I'm financially stable. And I was able to take care of my wife, knowing that she was dying, and be able to help her to the end. Uh, Many people cannot handle this. I had one friend tell me, "Well, if it was me, I would put my wife in a nursing facility." I says, "But one, she's my wife. Two, I could take care of her." So not many people in my country feel this way, but enough do. enough to. I met some real good people, and that's what I call being kind, being thoughtful, being helpful. Uh, Many people don't spend time with their children. Uh, so many people have different activities, uh, like they have two different schedules between husband and wife. We commingled our schedule very well. We worked together. That's all I can say, really.
Yeah. Oh, you are just a book teacher. You are more than a book. I mean, so I'm never getting
No,
tired
no.
to listen to you.
A lot of people say, "Oh, John, you're so smart." I says, "No, I'm not smart. I'm 77 years old. I'm an old man. I made many mistakes in my life. So I'm just telling you the mistakes that I made so you don't make them."
Yeah. When you told me that you took care of your wife, this remind me about my grandfather, because my grandmother, she was paralyzed, and my grandfather, he was taking care of her. He was helping her to take shower and everything.
Oh, yeah,
So
everything. That's what I
yeah.
did. Everything, yeah. I even monitored her blood pressure better than the doctors did.
So this is love. This is a true love at the end, not a fake one.
I don't know if there is fake love or
I'm
true love.
we can't save love.
The
Interest.
the commitment that you make. You
Mm,
know, it's not like lying to yourself, but most religions, you're making a promise to your higher power. You're
true.
making a promise to God, Allah, Lord Vishnu, that, you will, you know, uh, how's the saying go? For richer, for poorer, in sickness and health, till death do you part. I mean, you make a promise to God or Allah, and you know, if you can't keep your promise to God, how do you expect to have a good life?
Exactly. Hmm. That's true. Wow, it's just amazing. Thank you so much, Teacher John, for sharing those beautiful information with us. So, guys, what I learned from today, from this lesson, from this live stream, I learned many lessons. And the biggest one is to be kind. And this to be kind is also with you, with yourself, with your family, wife, children. To be kind also means to make time for people around you, for important people from your life. To be kind also means to accept other culture, other religion. I mean, to respect them. It's just amazing. I will
That's
just,
what
I
it's
just,
all about.
yes.
That's what it's all about. And if people could see that, I don't think the world would be in the position that it is right now.
Mm, true. I think if people will apply those advices and information what you just shared with us, I'm sure will be heaven on this earth. Not anymore war.
I believe so too. And it's not that complicated. You don't have to buy a book to learn how to be kind.
Yeah,
Yeah. So, it's
you
something
don't.
that should come natural, but we become so materialistic. Our society, we want to keep up with the Joneses. That's an expression. That means if your neighbor gets a new car, you have to get a new car. If he gets a new TV, no, you don't. If your car's running fine, don't worry about it. Uh, just try to be helpful. I do a lot of work. My biggest satisfaction I get, because on uh, June 24th, 2010, was the last day that I had a drink of alcohol.
Hmm.
And I help people who want to stop drinking alcohol. And people say to me, say, well, that's your problem because in my religion, uh, it's a sin to drink. And the person who I just helped the other day was a doctor from Pakistan that came in with a problem. So
Mm,
don't think that these things don't affect you. There are good and bad people, and alcohol is a disease. In 1955, the AMA, American Medical Association, defined alcoholism as a disease, and all people get diseases. So help these people. Don't put him in a closet. Oh, we can't let him out. People will know he'll disgrace the family. Don't worry about him disgracing the family. Get that person help
mm. So there is a hope always.
always,
Yeah.
always.
Because nowadays are so many addiction in this world, like alcoholism, also smoking, also addiction to food. Many people are overeating.
Yes,
So there is a hope if you truly want to get rid of it and, to,
yeah.
and, and to enjoy this beautiful life. Well, thank you so much, Teacher Jan.
It's been a
Um,
pleasure. Anytime. I don't mind sharing this with you. Uh, I don't mind if we could cover it. What's the best ways to learn English? Because
yes.
I always hear what next time we could do this. Too many people have this concept practice, practice, practice.
Mhm.
No, proper practice, proper practice, proper practice. You're not going to learn vocabulary by watching TV or listening to English radio music and shows. I suggest to my students go on YouTube, get a closed caption book, write the words down that you don't understand, look up those words in the dictionary, write a simple sentence, and use those words 10 times within 1 week. And those words will stick with you for the rest of your life. I have a bunch of these tips. So next time, no problem. We could cover English lessons.
Yes, of course. Next time we'll talk about English lessons and how you can improve your English.
Right.
Because it's an international language, and no matter where you are traveling, you can have a conversation with everyone. So it's just wow.
Exactly. When I went to Nairobi in Kenya, Africa, there was one man, a Masai Mara,
Hmm.
and he was walking down the street, and I says, "Wow, I only seen these people in National Geographic magazine. That's that old magazine that covered history around the world." And
Wow.
I walked by this man, and the man said in perfect English, "Excuse me, sir, are you too good that you cannot say good afternoon?" And I turned around and says, "Wow," I said, "I didn't know you speak English."
Hmm.
He says, "Oh yes." And we went out for a drink later on that day. That's when I was drinking alcohol, of course. And and he said, in Kenya there are 42 different tribes, and each has a different language. So in order to communicate with each other, they all learn English,
Wow.
and that's what's happening in the world. I used to be able to speak fluent Polish, but to me, Polish is a dead language.
Yeah.
Once Babcha and Jadek, grandmother and grandfather, died, I had nobody else to speak Polish to. So I just stopped learning Polish and continued with English.
Mm. Yeah. And I saw you are helping people so much on the groups because you are in the groups of English where people can learn, can study English. So you are
Well,
giving from your time.
at one time, I belonged to a few groups, but now I only belong to one group.
Yes.
And the reason I only belong to one group is I'm able to give feedback to people. When they make videos, I could give them honest feedback. I watch the whole video. If I feel they're lacking vocabulary, I will tell them, hey,
Mm.
you have a good flow of English, you have a good pronunciation. but you need to learn the vocabulary more.
Yeah.
So this way, I only belong to one group, but if anybody ever wants me to join a Zoom meeting one on one with them, I'm certainly available. I mean, like you, like a teacher, but I don't do one on one with students because it's non-productive. I feel I'm more productive working in a group.
Yes, because you are reaching to many people like that. Your
Exactly.
knowledge and information. Mm. Okay. I will just want to say thank you so much for being with us in this evening, and it's such a pleasure to listen always to you. And I hope I will see you next time with English subjects.
Yeah. I know everybody, this is a good way to break the ice.
Yeah, exactly. And if you want to share with us your last words or your last advices for this live stream.
You know, as I said, uh, it's not a question about praying so many times a day or doing this and doing that. You have to remember you got to help your fellow man and woman. The whole trick to life, I think, is to be kind. That's all.
Yeah, exactly. So thank you again, Teacher John, the kindest man from the world which I have ever met.
Thank you so much. That makes me feel so good you saying that. You have a good day and have a great weekend and be kind. Bye bye
Yes,
now.
thank you. Bye bye. And thank you guys for watching us today in this live stream. If you want to follow Teacher John from Houston, you can find him on Facebook and on in his group Facebook page. He's the best man ever what I have ever met and kind. Believe me, he's gonna help you learn English and learn about life. So see you next time. Be kind and love the world. Bye bye.